That's what I think about Vogel's review. It's comical. So I would like to take this opportunity to do a formal rebuttal for Heather Vogel's review that she left for us. My name is Daniel Deal, founder and owner of Completely Custom Marine. I'm aware that people don't like to read these days, so I chose to do a video. You're welcome to read our response if you like, or you can simply watch a video of it. So Heather Vogel, she was a very ambitious lady, as I remember her. Her husband was having some medical issues. You know, he was on the West Coast. She was in Annapolis. They were beginning to live out their dream, I guess you could say. Heather just got divorced. You know, they had bought this beautiful new catamaran. Well, it wasn't new. It was used. And the name of the manufacturer is slipping my mind. It's a French-made catamaran. I can't remember the name of it to save my life, but it's a very popular brand. An absolute nightmare to work on. So Heather inquired with us. She sent us an email, and actually I spoke to her, and I told her we could absolutely do everything she wanted to have done. Basically, she wanted to do some very comprehensive modifications and customizations to the boat to make it more enjoyable and comfortable for her and her husband and any guests while they live on the boat, because they were heading south to the islands. The hell with America, you know, they're Jacques Cousteau now. And you know, $125 an hour, that's not the most expensive rates, and it's not the cheapest. We're somewhere, you know, kind of in the middle. So I originally sent her an estimate. I believe it was for $6,500. That estimate was a bare minimum. And I communicated this with Heather. I think Heather has spent so much money that she's forgetting facts. You know, she asked me, she said, you know, it's only $6,500 to get this work done. I said, no. And she asked, you know, do I got to pay this up front? And I said, absolutely not. I said, when you go through the process, it's going to require a 10% deposit. And I said, I know we need that 10% deposit just to purchase the initial material list, because there's a lot of wire to be purchased. And I said, you know, that's why I made the estimate for $6,500. I said, it's going to cost at least that. So we're getting close to about the 5K mark, and she starts inquiring, you know, how much is this going to cost? Because we have worked on the boat quite a bit, and the finish line wasn't in sight yet. You know, there was hurdles and problems every step we took, all of which she was well aware of, because she played project manager throughout all this, contacting the manufacturer and the broker and the previous owner to get certain details of the boat to facilitate our service, all of which at my request and direction. At this point in time, I reminded her of the conversation we had before she ever seen the estimate. I said, Heather, I said, everything is billed at $125 an hour per person, plus the cost of any parts and materials. I said it just like that. And I know I said it just like that because that's how I say it to every customer. What part of that don't you understand? Heather had every right and every reason to put a stop to us performing service whenever she wanted to. However, she never did that. She wanted us to keep going. We did a lot of custom electrical work. We had to add a custom breaker panel, which was a sub panel to the main panel. We had to add a washer and dryer to the forward starboard head. I personally went up a mast. We had to figure out electronics issues, you know, a wide range of stuff that we had to do. Part of the services we had to do was fix a hydraulic leak on her helm pump for a steering system. And I remember this. It was a Friday when I initially cracked into it. Now, I got to paint this picture for you so you have better clarity and understanding. Imagine if you have a shoebox. let's say a size 12 shoe. I'll even give you a big shoe box. And there's just enough room to get your hands in this shoe box with a wrench to loosen up 3 hydraulic lines, because that's what had to happen. There was hardly enough room to get a soda can in this helm station, okay? And I told her that because before I even did anything, you know, she said, hey, can you put something in there to catch the oil? And I told her, I said, nothing will fit. There's no room. By the time I get my hands in there, there was no room to put any kind of container. So what I did was I took a bunch of rags and I stuffed that cavity with rags. So anything that leaked out would be caught by the rags. And then I pulled all the rags out of there and put it into, you know, a parts bucket, basically. Those rags are now trash. And I was not successful in removing the steering wheel. It was seized on to the pump shaft with corrosion. And I told Heather very specifically, I said, look, this steering wheel isn't coming off today. I said, I have some hydraulic pullers, which I need, but I don't have them with me today. They are back at the shop. So when I get back here next week, I will bring my pullers and get the steering wheel off. I said, if in worst case scenario, the steering wheel still doesn't come off with the puller, we're going to have to cut the shaft and get a new helm pump, right? It is what it is. I've been down this road too many times before. I get back there, I believe it was the following Tuesday or Wednesday, and I got my pullers and everything's done. She had already had it fixed, right? She had found somebody on the dock, some other service company, right? And they're the magician, they're the wizard, you know. Now I'm incompetent and unworthy. Well, that's some bullshit. I didn't have an opportunity to finish the service that I started. But whatever, I don't care. I'm glad you got it fixed, Heather. That's great news, okay? During this time, what had happened was the residual fluid that was in the hydraulic lines had leaked out. Now, this helm station is above the ceiling to her master stateroom. And I was concerned about this, and I specifically looked at the ceiling panel before I left the boat that day. It was clean, no problems. We get a pretty, I'm not going to say a nasty email, but a pretty angry email, rightfully so, Heather, informing us about her ceiling panels in her master stateroom. I immediately replied to her email. I said, oh my goodness, I will be there first thing in the morning. I'll come get the panels. I'll have them reupholstered by the company that does all my upholstery and canvas. Not a problem, no questions asked. Now, at this point in time, everything changed with Heather. And I think what happened is she got really pissed off, truth be told, and she just rendered us unworthy and incompetent. She had come to me on several occasions before this and was explaining to me and telling me how happy and thoroughly satisfied she was with the work that we were doing. And now, because you got a ruined ceiling panel, now everything we did is horribly wrong and bad. That's bullshit. Stop being emotional. Start being factual and logical. Long story short, she spent way too much money on the boat. I would not give her a definitive price to finish the work. I would simply tell her it's $125 an hour plus any parts and materials. Now, she's living on the boat. She is there every day we are working on the boat. She is seeing what's being done, the problems we're having, and what we have to do and go through to get the work done that she wants to get done. So nothing is news to her. She is up to date every second of this project, right? She's actively involved in this. Long story short, she found some other company in Annapolis to finish the work. I'm guessing they gave her a firm fixed price. I'm glad you got the work done, Heather. I hope you're in the islands having fun in living this dream that you had explained to me. We also filmed and videoed all work that we did on this boat, because before she even signed the estimate, she had agreed to have her and her project featured on our TV show. I think that's what she's getting mixed up about. She made a comment saying that, I would give her a discount if she didn't leave a bad review. Well, to start with, we never had a conversation of that kind at all. What I simply said was, after one of the conversations where she was telling me how happy she was, I said, hey, if you're willing to write us a review, we can offer you a $100 discount on your service. We do this for all customers. It's our way of saying thank you for taking a few minutes out of your day and writing a review for us. It's as simple as that. Basically, she yanked the rug out from under us right before we got to the finish line. I would say we were probably about 80% completed with her project. Fact of the matter is, I had never given her a firm fixed quote to do anything. Everything was always estimated and charged at $125 an hour per person. She was well aware of this. Unfortunately, since she wanted to project manage all of this to save money, but in reality, she's losing dollars keeping track of pennies, because that's what all customers do, because they don't want to listen to the professional advice. All they see, they got blinders on. They see dollar bills and pennies. They don't see anything over here where you spend a few more pennies, but you save a lot of dollars. So she ended up spending a lot more money than she wanted to spend. That's not my problem. That doesn't necessitate or generate calls for the review that she left us. So as far as I'm concerned, that review has no merit. You're right. The ceiling panel in your master stateroom got soaked with the hydraulic oil from your steering system. We offered to immediately have this reupholstered with no questions asked. I inquired about it several times. You're well aware of this, Heather, but you didn't want us to do it. So all your complaining is falling on deaf ears. There's no basis or grounds for it. You're just emotional and broke at this point, the way I see it. But I truly hope you got your boat finished and you're in the islands and you're having fun, living happily ever after. I don't know what else to say, ladies and gentlemen, but those are the facts. Have a nice day.